Armor in Star Wars isn't just about protection, it's about survival in a galaxy filled with deadly threats. Whether it's designed to absorb blaster fire or eat direct lightsaber strikes, the strongest armor types give their wearers a fighting chance in an otherwise brutal universe. From elite combat droids to armor so strong it makes a mockery of physics, we're counting down the 10 most powerful armors in all of Star Wars. Number 10. Commando Droid Armor. B1 and B2 battle droids may have formed the bulk of the Separatist droid army, but BX series commando droids were in a league of their own. Faster, deadlier, and you guessed it, far better armored. Unlike standard battle droids, which were cheaply made and designed for mass production, BX droids featured advanced composite armor plating that made them significantly more resistant to blaster fire and melee attacks. This armor was lighter and more flexible than the bulky Durasteel plating on B2 super battle droids, allowing commandos to maintain peak mobility while still enduring direct hits. This increased durability made BX droids ideal for stealth missions, boarding operations, and close quarters combat against clone troopers. They could take several blaster bolts before going down, something that standard battle droids could never dream of. Despite their advantages, commando droids were still vulnerable to sustained fire and lightsabers, keeping them far below the truly legendary armors on this list. However, their balance of agility and protection made them some of the most dangerous droids of the Clone Wars. They may not have been indestructible, but they were durable enough to make even veteran clone squads think twice before engaging. If only they weren't so expensive to produce, perhaps the Separatists would have considered making more of these units, and many battles during the war would have gone the other way. Number 9. Durasteel Armor. The backbone of armor and construction in the Star Wars galaxy, Durasteel was known for its affordability, durability, and widespread use. While it doesn't have the mystical properties of some of the more exotic materials on this list, it remains one of the most practical and versatile armors ever deployed. It was more resistant than standard steel and stronger than common alloys like titanium. Found in everything from lightsaber hilts to starship armor plating, Durasteel was known specifically for its ability to protect against kinetic energy. Darth Vader's armor was reinforced with Durasteel, providing him with additional protection against blaster bolts and physical strikes. Meanwhile, General Grievous's cybernetic body was composed of a Durasteel composite called Duranium, allowing him to withstand brutal combat and direct blaster fire. However, Durasteel has a major weakness. Lightsabers cut through it with relative ease. While it can absorb glancing blows and heat-based damage better than most metals, it still stands no chance against a direct strike. Even so, its widespread availability made it a staple for centuries. Number 8. Ultrachrome Armor. A rare and powerful metal, Ultrachrome was one of the few materials in the galaxy capable of resisting lightsabers without being as heavy as other entries later on our list. This unique alloy had one defining trait. It conducted energy across its surface, dispersing heat and making it nearly impossible for a lightsaber to slice through in a single strike. Ultrachrome saw use in specialized armor, particularly among the Emperor's Inquisitors in Star Wars Legends. The armor's one major drawback was that if enough energy was transferred, say from a lightsaber, the entire piece of armor would melt. Despite this flaw, Ultrachrome Armor provided an incredible advantage against lightsaber wielders. Number 7. Vonduun Crab Armor. While most armor in the galaxy was forged from metal or synthetic materials, the Yuuzhan Vong took a completely different approach, one that blurred the line between armor and a living organism. Vonduun Crab Armor, worn exclusively by the elite warrior caste of the Yuuzhan Vong, was a biotechnological exoskeleton made from the shell of the Vonduun crab. Unlike traditional armor, it wasn't just resistant to blasters and melee strikes, it actively adapted and reacted in battle. Standard blaster bolts had almost no effect, and lightsaber strikes required multiple hits in the same location to burn through. Combine that with its ability to enhance the strength of its wearer, and Vonduun Crab Armor made the Yuuzhan Vong plus other wearers like the Sith Lord Darth Krayt among the most fearsome warriors in galactic history. Number 6. Orbalisk Armor. Some armor protects its wearer. Orbalisk Armor does much more. It feeds on them. This grotesque living armor was composed of parasitic creatures known as Orbalisks, which latched onto their host's body with tiny teeth, feeding off of the dark side of the Force and forming an almost indestructible shell. Unlike traditional armor, this nightmarish bio-armor was nearly impervious to lightsabers, absorbing even direct strikes with ease. This armor was most famously worn by Darth Bane, the Sith Lord who created the Rule of Two. Bane allowed Orbalisks to infest his body, covering nearly every inch of him except his face, which he covered with a special helmet and mask. The creatures provided unmatched protection, but the armor had its weaknesses, the main one being Force Lightning. If one of the Orbalisks were to be killed, they would inject chemicals into the host, killing them in a matter of days by breaking them down on a subatomic level. For any other warrior, Orbalisk Armor would have been a death sentence. For Darth Bane, it was just another weapon. Number 5. Dark Trooper Frick Armor. The Dark Trooper program was the Empire's attempt to create the ultimate combat droids and super soldiers. Among the various phases of these deadly warriors, the Phase 3 Dark Troopers from Star Wars Legends stood apart, not just for their raw power, but for their near-impenetrable Frick armor. Frick was one of the rarest and most durable metals in the galaxy, completely resistant to lightsabers. This gave the Dark Troopers a terrifying advantage in battle, making them nearly unstoppable. Even blaster fire was barely effective, as the armor's composition could absorb extreme punishment. Combined with their advanced combat programming and devastating firepower, Phase 3 Dark Troopers were essentially walking tanks. But despite their unmatched durability, they weren't flawless. The armor itself was incredibly expensive, which, combined with the destruction of the Arc Hammer where they were constructed, led to the cancellation of the Dark Trooper program. Number 4. Mandalorian Beskar Armor. For the Mandalorians, armor isn't just protection. It's a way of life, part of their religion. Beskar, also known as Mandalorian Iron, was one of the most durable substances in the galaxy, capable of withstanding blaster bolts, explosions, and even direct lightsaber strikes. Beskar armor is what makes Mandalorian warriors so feared on the battlefield. Unlike many other armor types, Beskar doesn't weaken over time. It retains its strength across generations, often passed down through families as a sacred heirloom. Pure Beskar armor, like that worn by Din Djarin in The Mandalorian, is nearly impenetrable. While older designs were Durasteel based with some Beskar reinforcement, even partial Beskar armor provides significant protection, allowing warriors to endure direct hits that would kill an unarmored opponent. However, Beskar is not completely indestructible. Enough force, such as repeated lightsaber strikes or focused energy blasts from weapons like the Arc Pulse Generator, could eventually damage or weaken the metal. Beskar weapons themselves could also damage it, leading to Mandalorians outlawing their creation. Despite this, Mandalorian Iron remains one of the best defensive materials in the galaxy. Furthermore, it was incredibly difficult to forge, with the methods remaining a closely guarded secret, a skill passed on through generations to keep ancient armor intact and impervious. Number 3. Cortosis Weave Armor. Cortosis is one of the rarest and most dangerous materials in the galaxy, infamous for its ability to short-circuit lightsabers on contact. This unique property made it highly sought after by those looking to counter Jedi and Sith alike. However, Cortosis wasn't perfect. While it could disable a lightsaber with a single strike, the effect was temporary, giving opponents a chance to recover. Additionally, it offered less protection against conventional weapons like blasters and explosives. In the right hands, it could turn the tide of a battle or spell disaster for an overconfident Jedi. Unfortunately, Cortosis was incredibly hard to find, and thus very expensive to purchase, resulting in few weapons and armor being made of it. Number 2. Zillo Beast Armor. The Zillo beast was a living nightmare for the Galactic Republic. A colossal, nearly indestructible creature from Malastare, its armored hide was so resistant that even lightsabers and heavy turbo lasers couldn't pierce it. This terrifying level of natural durability led Supreme Chancellor Palpatine to order its study, hoping to harness its secrets for the Empire's military. The Republic's scientists discovered that the Zillo beast's scales were virtually impervious to energy-based weapons, making them a potential game-changer for armor technology. If successfully replicated, it could have revolutionized personal protection. However, the Zillo beast was ultimately killed before its armor could be mass-produced, and the research on its scales remained incomplete. Decades later, the Empire attempted to clone the creature, proving that Palpatine never truly abandoned his ambitions. Had Zillo beast armor ever become standard for Imperial forces, it would have rewritten the rules of warfare, rendering blasters, lightsabers, and even starship-grade weaponry far less effective. Thankfully for the galaxy, this ultimate armor remained a lost potential. Number 1. Quantum Crystalline Armor. In the absolute peak of Star Wars armor technology sits Quantum Crystalline Armor, a near mythical material so advanced that it defied the laws of physics. Quantum Crystalline Armor was specifically developed for the superweapon known as the Sun Crusher by the scientists of the Maw installation. The armor strength would allow the Sun Crusher to survive the force of a supernova, which the weapon was designed to trigger. Its destructive capabilities dwarfed that of the Death Star, even though it was only the size of a starfighter. Han Solo once was able to ram the Sun Crusher straight through the bridge of an Imperial Star Destroyer without it taking any damage. It even repelled turbo laser shots and a glancing blow from the Death Star's prototype super laser. It's a good thing that Quantum Crystalline didn't see more widespread use by the Empire. It was, without a doubt, the most overpowered yet underutilized armor in Star Wars history. A lost technology that could have reshaped the galaxy forever.